You will always have NBA teams that are built to win a championship. The teams that will classify the season as a failure if they don't win a championship. The Clippers and the Lakers are clearly the teams that fit this category, and you could also add the Milwaukee Bucks and the Houston Rockets to that list. But there are those teams with young and very talented players who are trying to establish themselves as a potential contender for the future. And there are a few teams right now who have a chance to win it as soon as this year. The NBA has plenty of players under the age of 25 that have already proven that they are a force to be reckoned with. This is a video about the teams with the brightest future. I created a scoring system that helped me rank these teams. Does the team have players who have all-star potential who are under the age of 25? Do any of these all-stars have the potential to possibly become a superstar? Do they have an all-star veteran on the team? A player who is over the age of 25 that would be very beneficial to the young core of this team? How good are the role players around the stars? Does the young core have any playoff experience? Do they have max cap space for the next 2 years? That could infinitely improve the team if they were to land a big-time free agent. And last but certainly not least, how's the culture of the team? Culture is something that takes time to develop. You have to consistently win, play a certain type of style, have a good player development, and have an ownership, a front office, and a head coach who are on the same page for the most part. I will rank my top 5 NBA teams with the brightest future. I actually have 2 teams that are tied for the number 5 spot. Let's start with the Memphis Grizzlies, a team that decided on a full rebuild last year after trading away Marc Gasol and Mike Conley. Memphis was one of those teams this season where most experts thought they would be one of the worst teams in the league. Instead of a slow and steady progression, the Grizzlies fast-tracked their way back to relevance in 1 year. There's talent all around this team, but they're led by 2 20-year-olds. 2 20-year-olds who could be all-stars for years to come, Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. After just 2 drafts, the Grizzlies have their dynamic duo. Ja Morant electrified the crowd as soon as he stepped on the court. He proved he had the grit, the fire, the leadership, and the game to help lead this team to possible future success. With Zion missing a ton of games in his rookie year, the Rookie of the Year award was essentially locked up before the All-Star break. What better way to move on from a franchise point guard like Mike Conley, who was good for the franchise for years, and now you have this kid who is more talented. Jaren Jackson Jr. is everything you want in a big man in today's NBA. He can make plays on both ends of the court. He had a stretch this season from December 2nd to December 13th where he averaged around 26 points on 50% shooting from the field. His only issue at this point is foul trouble. He has raised his personal foul average every year. You can't help the team if you're constantly held back by foul trouble. But Jackson is still only 20 years old, putting up near all-star numbers already. If anybody could be a superstar on this team, it's the current Rookie of the Year. Morant was just as good as advertised in his rookie year. His athleticism and quickness allows him to get to the rim at will. He has a mixture of patience to run the offense and a killer instinct to take over a game as a scorer. He's like a combination of Derrick Rose and Rajon Rondo. And just like both of those guys, he needs to become a more consistent jump shooter to truly unlock his full potential. There are some nice pieces around the 2 stars. Players like Jonas Valanciunas, Dillon Brooks, and Brandon Clark. With so many young guys on the team, the 28-year-old Valanciunas provides much needed consistency. He was one of the most consistent players on the team this season. He is a walking double-double who has an old-school low-post game, but he also has developed a 3-point shot and can knock him down if you give him an open look. Drafting Ja Morant was already a win in the 2019 NBA draft, but to be able to snag Brandon Clark as well is something great organizations do. Brandon Clark finished 4th in the Rookie of the Year voting. Plays like Sean Marion, but he has a better outside jump shot. Clark was one of the most efficient players in the league this season. When Dillon Brooks plays within himself and is efficient, the Grizzlies are a much better team. His confidence will never be questioned, but at times he takes a lot of bad shots and some are early in the shot clock. He can be the two guard of the future for the Grizzlies if he ever can find some consistency. The Grizzlies took a massive gamble on talented forward Justice Winslow. Winslow has missed over 40% of his games in his 5-year career, and that's including his planned debut with the Grizzlies in Orlando. It's hard to imagine that he'll ever be healthy enough to help this team like he should. At this point, the Grizzlies will be lucky if he plays 40 games a year. This core hasn't had playoff experience just yet, but they were very close. Before the suspension of the season in March, the Grizzlies were in possession of the 8th seed in the West. It took the first ever play-in game for the 8th seed to be decided, and the Blazers were able to be the better team on that day. It was a bittersweet end to an unexpected season for the Grizzlies. Getting rid of big contracts like Mike Conley and Chandler Parsons helped set up a good future for the Grizzlies in terms of their cap space. They also acquired Gorgui Dieng when they traded for Justice Winslow. Dieng has one more year left on his contract, and he will have the highest salary on the team next season. The Grizzlies will be slightly over the salary cap for next season, but in the summer of 2021 is when they will have max cap space. The free agent class of 2021 could be historic. Now, the Memphis Grizzlies aren't necessarily a free agent destination, but it doesn't hurt to have cap space just in case. And during that time, Justice Winslow will have a team option, and depending on if he's proven he can stay healthy or not, the Grizzlies have the option of clearing up $13 million of cap space if they decline Winslow's option. The Grizzlies have been a consistent franchise since 2011. They created a culture that represented the city of Memphis: grit and grind, toughness, tenacity, hustle. Even though they play at a faster pace right now, the grit still remains. All signs point to this team being able to continue this culture of consistency that they have had for almost a decade. But with a new core and a new GM, the Grizzlies will need to continue to prove it over the next couple of years.